welcome to my live. Yesterday we looked at Matthew chapter 27, verse 1 to 29. We spoke about a number of things. We spoke about Judas, the experience of me being in Adventism and then going to school in 2015, the experience of then realizing that we were being tipped off by a lady who was chairperson and her team to be kicked out, and we were kicked out as people who were in Jeff's movement. And so I put that as a type of a Joseph. Then after that, I experienced a couple of segregation in Adventism. Segregation when it came to me working. I started working in Sabbath school. Usually I was a deaconess and I would sing often. So singing didn't have a problem. I continued singing. When I went to Trelawney, I continued singing. Trelawney didn't have a problem with me singing. Couldn't work. I couldn't do deaconess duties at school in Stars, and Starzim didn't take me as a member of Starzim. And also, I couldn't do duties when I came back at home at Ngambelana Church. It's Ngambelana Church and Central Church. They only allowed me to do duties on Sabbath school. So that is a type of a Joseph. Then after that, it escalated on Facebook. It became very serious during the last final cleansing of the right eye, I call it, which was the probation closing for the priests, and that was Jeff's movement in America. From there, moving to the Levites, which are Adventism. And Adventism, when they come in as a Jesus Christ. Hello, Nikki. They come in as a Jesus Christ. So when they come in with the Democratic Party, irrespective of whether or not they're Republican or Democrats. So from there, it is like the cleansing of the left eye, and they come in and they are going through a temple cleansing themselves also. So there's a lot of things that is going on with Judas. The 30 I spoke about as the 30 years of Jeff's movement, 30 years, which is the literal years of my life in 2025. And I don't think that is coincidental. I don't think God made a mistake. I think it is perfect, just right. 30 years in 2025, it is just right. It's not coincidental. It's not a mistake. So that 30 years, literal 30 years, then is the beginning of the cleansing of the left eye, which is the Levites. And so it seems there is one clue, one point in my life that God puts there to mark specific events that are happening either spiritually, especially spiritually, among his children in Adventism especially. My grandmother passed away in 2020. She is one of the eldest members of the Adventist church among the African Adventist churches here in the Eastern Cape. She was a worker in Adventism. Her and her husband, they worked as evangelists. So when she passed away in 2020, at the beginning of the year, she was 95 years old. 99. She was 99. She was 99 years old. Yeah, she was gonna be 100 years old by 2021. So she was one of the oldest members. Hi, Simply Emma. She is one of the oldest members to still be living by 2020 when she passed away in Adventism. And with that, guys, is the time that Just Movement just separated from Permanentessa's movement. in 2018, and Dress Movement 2019 was exactly about, thank you, Simply Emma. Jeff's movement was exactly about 30 years in on the 19th of November 2019. So when my grandmother passed away, it's already over the mark of Jeff's movement, marking them as a complete movement, complete temple that is now ready. They can go through their test, I'm assuming. Jesus Christ was about 31 years old when he was crucified in AD 31. So just movement in at 30 years old was ready to go through that process of crucifixion if so they were going to be crucified. And so in 2020, July 18th didn't happen, and they were 31 years old. In 2020 also, when they were 31 years old, Clayton quickly kicked me out of the movement, and I felt destroyed because I felt a little bit of beating and everything. So I'm assuming I was crucified in the place of, but I don't want to assume that because that is very harsh assumption. But I do think that I was crucified in the place of the movement of Jeff. And so I come in 2021 and I'm extremely fragile because of how much destruction actually came to me. And I was not even, I was 25 years old actually in May because my birthday is in March actually. So yeah, as at 25 years old, I was crucified for Jeff. So 2021 came in, and the ladies in Adventism, there were ladies in Adventism who were right behind me. They were always just watching what am I doing on social media, where am I, where am I spending my time, who am I spending my time with, and what am I doing? Am I in just movement? And if I'm there, they want to go and poke me, they want to go and irritate me, they want to go and always just right on my footsteps. They were right behind me, always watching me, always. And then I didn't understand at first why are they doing this all the time. And then I realized I am a Republican. And so being Republican, also coming from Jeff's movement, they were doing that because they were Democrats. So when President Biden entered into office, they got that spirit to destroy us, as God had allowed that the right eye goes through a type of a cleansing. So I came from Jeff's movement, then I went straight into the cleansing of the Republicans. So people from the Republican Party, they might have gone through it as a group, and I ended up going through it as a part of the group. But because of how fragile I was, coming from Trust Movement, just felt like I was the only one who was going through it, and yet everyone else is experiencing it. So that's something that has happened. Social media was blocked. My Facebook, especially, was blocked by President Biden and monitored. And I think there was a lot of other things that happened on TikTok. My TikTok views were sacked. Um, as a, as I get a quick growth, they would quickly be sacked straight to zero. So all the time, when I posted, I would post and then my views would get sacked. So there's a lot of things that have happened in the 4 years that I actually endured, because I'm Republican and all of these things. But that has ended. It ended from the 1st of January 2025, and that's what I wanted to share. But I went to an institution called WUSU, and that institution doesn't have a political party that is Republican. All the political parties are Democrats. So I'm not a partial. But when it comes to the cleansing of each eye, I'm I'm not choosy. I just do my work according to what God's called me to do, and then the cleansing just goes through. So oh, Zaras, that's funny. Hello, Claudio. Hello, everyone who's just coming. So that is the story that I wanted to share when it comes to the blockings and everything. I just went into Truth Social right now, and I think it is going. I really appreciate the influence that's coming from Truth Social because I can see that the Republicans have been ready. They probably have been ready for so long. Maybe there are little bits and pieces of times when they are loosened and then they're restrained and then they're loosened and then they are restrained. Um, and now it is the time where they're loosened again and they're going to be cleansing, doing a type of a cleansing for the the Democrats. And so being in Truth Social, I think maybe I am a little bit late. I should have gone in 1st of January 2025 to then enter into this cleansing. But I understand there had to be a turning point. And so within this turning point, there are a few Democrats that are still around that are busy doing their work, seeing what I'm writing on Truth Social, seeing what I'm doing. They are still monitoring. They want to know, what are we saying about them? Is it about gossip about them and all of these things? I don't know how they came along with what they were doing to me and us as Republicans or as people in Jeff's movement, but they are looking around to see how am I studying the word, what is so different about me, how am I doing these things, can they imitate me, can they do all of that, can they stop me? They are still fighting, of course. The Bible does say, when they come, you shall fight them. So when they were doing what they were doing, it was when it was our captivity. The Bible says, you shall fight them. And I think then I did try to fight them even as I am here now. It is still an ongoing fight. Now the Republicans are gathering up and they are going to be loosened up to do a work. And the Democrats know they should fight them. And so that is the type of work going on now. Um, I'm going to be reading from verse 30 to verse 65. It is a wonder. I just wonder. I always just pray about miscommunication. I don't know how the Republicans hear me. Honestly, I don't know. But if they can hear me, then can't hear me, then it's unfortunate. I mean, how else? I can't understand. I listen on Truth Social and then I gather up and they're talking about things that I recognize, then I just share. But to understand, I don't understand. So they must know that it is if things go well, then it is God's work. Not because actually I do understand. Um, I did see also this miscommunication when Clayton came along. Clayton's Jeff's son. I heard from one of the videos that he is Republican. He came along to South Africa. He started saying a lot of stuff like, "Oh, America is not racist," or is. It is I don't understand. I literally don't. So what if they're not racist? Does that have to do with me? Oh, and he says I am going to be big one day. Going to be big. I'm like, I don't want. What if I don't want to be big? Is that supposed to make me feel happy? And I'm not happy. That is the thing. So I don't want to know you want me to be big one day. Miscommunication. But for him, he felt like I'm excited. I'm going to be happy. He wants me to be big one day. When I work so hard to actually be small, I'm even trying to lengthen, look a little bit longer. I am short. I'm 160 centimeters. There's miscommunication. And then also because I am a traditional woman, I will sit there, I will look at him, and there are times it's a miscommunication. I won't tell him that I'm offended. That is like, um, but you know, I don't know how I'm gonna tell you this, but there's something that it is not going very well. But he said to me he has autoimmune sickness, so I just, whenever it didn't go well, it's like you just put it there in the autoimmune. It is autoimmune. I don't hear you. Maybe it is autoimmune, which is not good because it shouldn't be. I mean, the autoimmune doesn't go directly to a person's personality and everything, and you say this autoimmune, just. But I don't know how my brain works. That's how it works. And probably there are people who look at me and they hear me. I say I have arthritis, and when I speak about all these things, and I don't sound so intelligent. So arthritis. Yeah. So I don't understand them. They are the Democrats and the Republicans are a little bit in the way that they think. I don't know what happens there. They have risen up a little bit. They come up hither from the Bible. God actually doesn't allow us to be so to that level, to have our intellects open up to that level, because he fears that we will be driven away from him. So to move from this level of mediocre, it seems at that level. But to me, it is, I mean, I've worked so hard. To me, it's almost like I'm just average. I could work a little bit more. But my little bit more for them is like mediocre. It's like average. So they are a little bit more intelligent than me, and that is okay. I'm going to read from verse 30 to verse 66. I said 65. It's actually verse 66. It reads, "And they spit upon him, and took the reed, and smote him on the head. And after that they had mocked him, they took the robe off from him, and put his own raiment on him, and led him away to crucify him. And as they came out, they found a man of Cyrene, Simon by name." I'm literally shivering. I'm very cold. Um, it is very cold, but I don't know. I'm a little bit shivering. Of course, I have been sick because of the captivity, but besides that, I also do recognize my feebleness. I have eaten a lot of cake today. Thank you. I cannot talk. I am okay. I'm a little bit feeble. Today, I'm. I ate a lot of cake and I felt a little bit worse. I went through a phase of diarrhea, And I don't know, my back is a little bit, and I work out, but I realize with me being a vegetarian and with the sickness going on, my bones are really suffering from this work. So I don't know, but I'm trying to um, to recognize that meat is leaving these areas on its own without me working out, and that's something that I'm getting used to. And I'm starting to look a little bit scrawny and bony. So I did share that I have started up eating fish. So I've been a vegetarian since I was in grade 6. And then we made biltong grade 9. I was 15 and I ate that biltong. Then I didn't eat it ever again. So it's, oh my goodness. I ate that biltong. I had a really sore stomach because my body is already getting used to going through a 7 year cycle of just cleaning out all of the meat, and me now getting used to being a full vegetarian. But I guess 12, 13, 14, 15 is about 4 years of being a vegetarian. It's not necessarily out yet, so I still had that craving and I didn't know it. So I ate that biltong when I was 15 years old, and after that I felt really bad, but then I just let go of it and I didn't eat meat ever again. So I went back to fish 2024. I was starting the eat eat for a living. So I say beard meets meat, but now is beard I don't know, beard something. And I see also the Asian people there. It looks really good. So I was like, oh my goodness, I eat for a living. Now I do something. I don't have to think about it. I just do something so fun. Let's go. So I go and I'm eating for a living. And I start up with like donuts and fish and chips and all of these things, and I really enjoy it. So that's where it began. Until I'm sick. You can hear I'm shivering and my voice is shaky. Okay, so I was in verse 31. And after that they had mocked him. They took the robe off from him and put his own raiment on him and led him away to crucify him. And as they came out, they found a man of Cyrene, Simon by name. Him they compelled to bear his cross. This guy, Cyrene, from Cyrene, Simon, was actually, I think he was African. So he was brown skin like me. So they could have made me a Simon in Jeff's movement. They could have made me a Simon because I quickly had my messages, and my messages quickly put me off their pathway. And I entered into Harvard and studied at Harvard, and I was off the pathway straight into Harvard. After that, I was in Adventism, but Adventism brought in this zeal. I think President Biden's very angry in 2021, and that is one of the reasons why he won the elections. He was very angry and thought President Trump will not keep up with the competition that these ladies are bringing when they're trying to promote Adventism. And so he was very angry seeing that I'm not seeing what's going on, as I am not even a part of them, and yet I'm busy running with them. And this is the evil they've planned against me even from 2019 probably. And I didn't see it. But President Biden probably saw it because he quickly came into office, and I don't think it would have been President Biden in office. I think it would have been President Trump. But President Trump wouldn't have been able to keep up. I see already that President Trump comes in, and one of the people that is very prominent was Kai. And I don't think that setup alone would have been able to be sufficient to help me succeed as an individual. Even with my life, those ladies would have killed me. And so President Biden comes in and he has a whole swamp of women all over, from England to everywhere, that are there in all these churches, from the Church of England to the Catholic Church to everywhere, that are willing to be a part of his move in the direction of making America great, or put them as almost like powerful in the world from among other nations. As President Trump will make America great from within the nation. So that really helped, I must admit. Like I really talk about how much President Biden will do what he's done. I spoke about how he was Barabbas yesterday, with his son Hunter. But as a work of what he did with the ladies, that whole, and the witches and everything that happened in 2021, that was really good, because I think that that alone helped me to have a pathway to actually play around and save myself. So I think that was really helpful. So I don't think that was what he was going for. I think he was going along the lines of saving himself and saving America from whatever it is that was going on. Um, but it really helped me for them to do that. And then Ukraine and Russia and Israel and Gaza, very good, I thought. I don't know about Iran though. I still don't know. But anyway, all of it seems to be okay. Though in my body, I don't know what is going on with my body. I feel like a little bit crippled or something. Yeah, that is something I should have been talking about. The crippling effect of, oh my goodness, did you guys see? There's like something over there. I don't know. The crippling effect of um, what I should be talking about if I was in chess movement is Balam and Balak. So the crippling effect of famine. Um, Yesterday I was talking about how I just like laugh and stuff, and I was saying it's a sickness, it is not real. When I'm laughing, I'm actually laughing, that's real. But when I'm laughing and it's like coming out of nowhere, it's just happening involuntarily, that is not real. That is a sickness. And that sickness is coming from the famine. It's a crippling effect, as I'm telling you. When we were going through the captivity in 2021 to 2024, the crippling effect of the inflation that happened in America, the crippling effect of all of these things is something I haven't emphasized yet. It is crippling to not have money. It is crippling to be unemployed. It is crippling to be employed and have a lot of money and still go through inflation. That is crippling also. So you can have a lot of money, you can have a job and have all of these things, but if you go through an inflation, it is crippling. It is crippling to have terrorism, civil unrest. It is crippling to have wars. So it doesn't only just come with having a lot of money and being employed. These three things are crippling, because the wars come in and they will eat up a lot of money. Um, the civil unrest come in and they eat up a lot of money, and terrorisms come and they eat up a lot of money through all of this destruction that they bring. So these are very crippling. When I just feel in my body, so I feel like this crippling, and I just was thinking about it the other day, and I was saying, if I can just I should just identify these instances of instability, because then there's a difference between being stable minded and stable in my health, and being unstable in my health and my mind, and knowing that I'm also unstable when I go to other things before I can go to school, before I can work for a company. I must first know I'm healthy. A company cannot so confidently employ me, and the school cannot so confidently take me if I am extremely sick. So I look healthy, but what is going on with my body is not telling of that same story. So yeah, that is that state, and that is the state that President Trump comes in and he says he's going to pay for it all, and I'm wondering, what is he going to pay for? I didn't understand that. So I guess that is some of the things I don't and really understand about the Republicans, because of that. Um, I guess I don't understand everything, but from this point of view of me recognizing what's going on and what really cripples me, I think it really helps me to know that if they are part of this work, the work of whatever is going on with my body, then they will at least have a way to do everything else that has to do with my health at least. Yeah, we are sitting on Golgotha. You see, guys, and I just laugh like this. Does not really me laughing. In verse 33, it reads, "And when they were come unto a place called Golgotha, that is to say, a place, that is to say, a place of a skull." So, yeah, if you can remember, guys, I put in skull and bones there. Um, Skull and bones seems to be something of a conspiracy theories when it comes to Democrats, but Republicans know exactly what to do with that. Um, so I'm very happy that Republicans are now, I'm not going to share this again and I'm repeating it. They're actually are the ones that through President Trump are in office. They gave him vinegar to drink mingled with gall, and when he had tasted thereof, he would not drink. And they crucified him and parted his garments, casting lots that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophet. They parted my garments among them, and upon my vesture did they cast lots. And sitting down, they washed him there, and set up over his head his accusations written, "This is Jesus, the King of the Jews." So if you remember yesterday, we read, and they asked him, mocking, saying, "Hail, King of the Jews." So now they're writing, "This is Jesus, the King of the Jews." So you can imagine what President Thabo Mbeki is going through. You know, they actually are in Gaza. They're sitting in Gaza. And you can imagine President Thabo Mbeki sitting there in Gaza with the ANC, and them getting these messages of how now they are trying to rule in Israel. They are trying to be prominent in the issues of America. These are the type of things, the mocking that comes from America to mock South Africa, especially from the side of ANC, to say that they're trying to rule in Israel and they're sitting in Gaza. They don't know what is going on. And I met a guy last year. I was walking in town was coming straight from Wusu, and I was walking. Um, and I am walking, and I'm by the post office, and then one of the guys who is a leader in parliament for the ANC. He is working as on deployment here in town. So he says to me, "Oh, come here," and I go. So he starts laughing at my interests, and I tell him I'm a Republican. He starts laughing. He gives me a ride back home, and he's just laughing. He says, "Oh, you're a Republican," and he thinks it's just someone who's just dreaming. I don't know what I'm saying. So he says, "I don't understand, guys. How do you do it? How do you think about this? The evil you've done in Gaza. How do you do this? They are sitting in Gaza and they get this big poster written, 'King of the Jews.' You're trying to rule in America. You're sitting in South Africa in the ANC party. You're trying to rule in America." They get that and they are mocked, mocked, mocked. Then were there two thieves crucified with him, one on the right hand and another on the left, and they that passed by reviled him, wagging their heads, and saying, "Thou that destroyest the temple, and buildest it again, if thou be the Son of God, come down from the cross." So if you remember, I spoke about this in 2024. I said they were wagging their heads like this. So I got a little bit demon possessed when I said that. I was coming straight from town, and I just felt something in my stomach. And I just felt this when I walked to town. In fact, it was very hard, very harsh in the 4 years. I decided to walk. I found myself sleeping on the lawn next to like factories and everything. Excuse me, and I thought, oh my goodness, in this state of my life, let me just find something to do, however small. So I would walk to town. I walked to town to the library. I would walk to my friend, my mother's friend's salon. In fact, this guy is an immigrant coming from Africa. He takes me in his salon from time to time, and then after some time, he asked me not to come back to his salon, and I spent a lot of my time going to his salon. I didn't have anything to do, so I go to his salon this day, and then um, I was very sick, so I asked for the keys to the toilet, and he gives me. So I go to the toilet, and then I stay there for like over 4 hours, and there's something in my stomach that is just rumbling, tearing me apart. It is so painful. So now I come out and I'm shivering the way I'm shivering right now. I'm shivering a little bit. I can feel my voice also shivering. I'm shivering like that. He says, "Am I okay?" I say, "Yes." And he says, "What can he buy for me?" And I say, "Grandpa and water." So he goes and he buys. He's one of those people who just buy for people who come to his shop. He's very hospitable. Buys me water, and Grandpa doesn't understand. He's a little bit confused. So I buy you water, and Grandpa. I mean, like you don't want scones or juice or something like that. You just want Grandpa and water. And I say, I just would like Grandpa and water. So that's what he gets. And then he buys also scones for other people to eat. So now I come back home, and when I get back home on the road, just as I look at the house, I'm like on the street to get to my house. I start feeling this tearing and tearing, and so I want to scream in the street. It is so painful. And I get home and I go to the bathroom, which is upstairs, and I start screaming. I'm in so much pain, and it's tearing me apart. And I get a little bit demon possessed. I start and it's wagging, like it seems this demon's wagging my head, and it's almost just saying these words, because these are the things I was talking about or sharing messages on my channel, Kofkova Semelika. So I start just hearing these words, and as I go into this phase of sleepiness, I ask my brother. He comes and he hears me scream. He hears me go through this trauma, and he asks me, "What can I do? What can I do? You are in so much pain. You are just dying." And I say, "Please just make me tea." And I ask for rosemary and this other tea, a combination of them. And I say, "Please make me that. I'm very sick." So he goes downstairs and he makes me that tea, comes back upstairs with that tea. And he gives me the tea to drink. I drink this tea. And I'm very drowsy and very sleepy now. I'm sitting on the bed and I'm just wondering, where am I going to end up with this? And I just start in my head starts wagging, and it is like, oh, just crucify him, to crucify him. It is like I'm wagging like the possessed Jews of this text. When after I've read this text over and over again and talking about the Caldema and Golgotha, it seemed to be happening right with me in my body, and I couldn't handle it. So verse 38 reads, "Then were there two thieves crucified with him, one on the right hand and another on the left. And they that passed by reviled him, wagging their heads, and saying, Thou that destroyest the temple, and buildest it in 3 days, save thyself. If thou be the Son of God, come down from the cross. Likewise also the chief priests mocking him with their scribes and elders said, He saved others, himself he cannot save. If he be the King of Israel, let him now come down from the cross, and we will believe him. He trusted in God, let him deliver him now, if he will have him, for he said, I am the Son of God. The thieves also which were crucified with him cast the same in his teeth. Now from the 6th hour there was darkness over all the land unto the 9th hour. And about the 9th hour Jesus cried with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani? That is to say, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? So, if you can see, so the wagging, and they're saying, but you say you destroy the temple. This temple must be destroyed. You will raise it up in 3 days. Um, save yourself. But you who says this, and they keep reminding him what he says, and I can imagine they're chanting. They're saying this, and it is almost like witches, almost like demons through witchcraft or something. They are mocking him. The chief priests are mocking him. The scribes and the elders are mocking him. They're saying, you save others, but you can't save yourself. Save yourself. So now if you can see, yesterday I told you Queen Elizabeth was in 70 years in office. I think over 70 years. So 70 is a symbol of Adventism. But King Charles is 69. He says he's number 69. And I understand 69 to be the 6th and 9th hour. I said if there is a Roman soldier, it definitely is King Charles. He is definitely that soldier that stands in as a Roman soldier that is holding up the churches to stand there in the 6th and the 9th hour. So if you can remember, that is what I shared. It is saying there was darkness over all the land. So the darkness that is all over the land, you can imagine. I told you a little bit about the work that God did with Abraham. If you can think about Genesis chapter 15, Abraham, he gets a deep sleep. He goes through a horror of great darkness. That horror of great darkness is the next step I put at the midnight cry. So at the midnight cry, if you can remember, with the temple cleansings, there's the first temple, which is the Holy of Holies, and then there's a second temple, which is the Holy Place, and then there's the courtyard. So King Charles sits in the Holy Place, and with my messages, I am in the Holy of Holies, but I'm not there alone. I'm there with the issues of America and the Middle East and Chicken countries and the White Lady, if you can remember, I shared about that story. So, this is the story of the insects, and this is only through my messages I sit there. It is not because of me as an individual, but for King Charles, it is him as an individual. When this text says, there was darkness over all the land, this darkness is coming from the horror of darkness, and I did share a little bit about it. The horror of darkness is actually the mingling of the messages of terrorism. It is terrorism. It is civil unrest. It is wars. But with King Charles, it is the actual activities. It's not the messages. In the Holy of Holies, there is no noise. In the holy place, King Charles works with the candles, the bread, the prayers of the saints. And so he deals with the activities that is going on. And outside, that's where the activities take place with Prince Harry and Princess Meghan. So you can see it's almost very progressive, these figures that are doing our work. So you can see from the Holy of Holies to the holy place to the courtyard that these figures are standing there and they're doing a work. I don't know how I am represented in the Holy of Holies. I could be represented as a child. I could be represented as Josiah, number 8. I could be represented in any other way. So I don't know how I am represented, but I know it is my messages that's doing a work there. Um, the darkness then comes in. It is also horror, and this is where King Charles plays a huge part in this. The horror actually is the influence of it is coming from the frogs. The influence of the frogs in England, you can hear them with the little bit of conspiracy and the suspicion that they are voices that King Charles hears in the four walls of his Buckingham Palace, voices that no one knows where they're coming from. It is these voices, these spirits that are doing this work. So this is suspicion, but I understand that the frogs are actually doing the work, and this is coming from Revelations. I was reading there that there is this time where the frogs do a work, and so I understand these frogs are the ones that are doing this work. When it was opened up for our work to take place 2021 to 2024, the frogs did a wonderful show. I thought it was a show. They came into South Africa, and the entire tar road was ripped up. It looked like it was coming straight out of a movie. Those were the frogs doing that. They did that. And the cars were just they were tipped over. They were tipped over, and they looked like it was a soccer field, except the net was the cars now, and so everyone was just wondering how big are these beings that could do such a thing, like a flipper car like this, and it's sitting so properly like a net, and now it looks like they were scoring a ball. And how big is this ball, or what is this ball anyway? It looked like it was a disaster, but actually it is the frogs. The frogs did that. They were scoring. They were ready to score. And that's exactly what they did. They scored. They continued to work. no one else knows about the frogs except, of course, God. And and this is where now the story of whether or not the president or king or queen is anointed to do a work comes in, because the frogs don't really interact a lot with people unless they are anointed by God to do a work, or unless they are doing a work themselves. They are extremely powerful. They could destroy. We are feeble human beings. These are spirits. They're angels. They can destroy. So, um, they'll sit there in Buckingham Palace, and I don't know who holds them there. I think it is just by the gracious, mighty hand of God. They will be muttering and whispering and talking. They will be doing all of that. And King Charles just goes by his work like nothing happens. It is so amazing every day. He wakes up like nothing happened. He's still alive. So these are the type of things that I'm looking at. But now when he is doing a work, I can only imagine how how feeble he must be also. Because honestly, as people, I don't think I understand the frogs very well. And I think there are times when they feel they want to tell me themselves what they are doing. They become an influence. They're opened up to become an influence. So they feel they want to tell me. They feel, oh no, no, maybe she understands it that way. And it turns out maybe I can't, because I can't hear them. I can't understand them. They will speak the same way I speak, but I still can't understand what are they saying. So that is the miscommunication that we deal with as people, and unfortunately that shortens our lives. The minute I became Queen of Fairmont for America, my lifespan immediately shortened because of this much strain, with this much work and the spirits I have to deal with. And so is King Charles and other people who are anointed over the years. So when they live longer, it is by God's grace that that happens. So that's where he sits. He sits there at the darkness over all the land. And this darkness is a horror of great darkness. Goodness, guys. Look at me. It just had like such a big headache. And it just feels like I am being so. I have a headache like right now. Sometimes I just feel like I could just drop dead, you know. Just, but I'm shivering and I'm like I have a headache now. Just like I'm being dramatic. I just feel like I'm being dramatic, but I have a habit of talking about things when they have escalated to become to just a greater height, you know. So I feel a headache because it literally pounding in my head. It's so hot. My forehead is so hot. So I'm literally shivering also. Jesus Christ says, Eli, 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 lama sabachthani, which means, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? You know. Maybe I should stop here today. Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. It's about like 6 minutes left. And I think maybe let's just breathe, guys. Let us breathe, because let us breathe. So, yeah. With the Republicans, I know that I am now getting back because I know the captivity has ended for us. So I won't be so endangered, I feel, as a person and individual when it comes to like frogs and so on. Things will become less and less and less, especially with where I have risen with my messages. Um, yeah, because the beings, they are much more advanced. They can tell. When I keep saying Satan loves me, you can see with the frogs, they really love me. Now you can know how short my lifespan actually is. Satan shouldn't love me, and then you know that I will live longer on earth. So, and I just entered into Truth Social. Um, you can tell, guys, just you just can tell. The Republican Party, they are going to do our work, I know, and it really is going to quickly, um, probably be very effective in this work going on at the captivities. Um, I heard President Trump already talk about trucks. He's talking about suckers, and he doesn't know. He's gone straight to President Biden saying someone must suck his penis. But he's talking about suckers. It is funny. It is a funny joke. But of course, President Trump doesn't know. Um, I think let me end here with verse 46. Yesterday I talked about Barabbas, and and it's about like 3 minutes left, over 4 minutes left. It, I'm not close my Bible. I'm not closing my Bible, guys. When I have like, I just feel like this is my mind is gone, sick, very sick. Golgotha, guys. The place of the skull. That is the part I stand on, and I always just so amazed. I was just thinking of skull and bones, and then like at Oxford, they had these skulls. They say they took from Africa, and this is from history. They say they took these skulls from Africa and they was drinking wine from them. I was like, oh my goodness. And you imagine taking someone's skull, having my skull, for goodness, and they take my skull, they drink from it. That is so evil. But I can imagine the Golgotha, you know. But yeah, maybe it is not that literal, I don't know. But of course it is the cleansing of the temple. So you can imagine. The priests, there are only a few priests. What I would bet, it was only just one person, it was only just me. So you can see not just movement moving in with the Levites, and it's just one priest. I just, this is scary. I go in, and this is one person, and I think God did it so well that it is not just me. It's like me, but then it's everyone else who was with me, and so that means many people. Republican Party are many, and me being there also a part, I felt like a part of it, rather than feeling like it is me entirely. But it was me actually going through that cleansing, of course. Not everything's going to be back 100%, but I know I will feel a lot better. Being in Truth Social, sharing my experience is not gonna be the same. When I was sharing my experience in the 4 years, I felt like I was dying just by sharing my posts. Um, They probably are true social. I am going to feel like I am living just by sharing my amazing. I mean, that's exactly what should be happening right now, my restoration. And then I know that everything I believe that is truth, of course. I mean, of course, because it is truth, not because they're gonna just make it seem like they're helping me, achieve anything that I just fantasize over. And so that is just amazing. And then I know that also America probably has the figure going through a restoration right now with Manasseh's captivity ended. They are then also going through the same process of restoration, and um, everything else gets back to normal for Judah. And the only person who's left now is Hoshea, who never gets restored back. So I can imagine there's so many Levites, and dress movement has fallen under the bracket of Levites. So they probably were confused in the 4 years. They were wondering what is going on, probably. And I see with Theodore, I went to Theodore's studies one time in the 4 years, and that was a while back. And then I decided, you know what, I'm not gonna go to those studies. I'm just gonna leave with these people that God's called to do the work that God's called them to do without me going and because I don't even understand chronology from that point of view, as I shared with you guys. I just understand pulmoni, which is what I came straight out of July 18th with, and I don't understand chronology. So that's the difference between us. Of course, I have shared that. Another difference between us that I have shared is I need to think about it. It is chronology, but also it is not just the latter rain. I need to be specific on the methodology used to get to that latter rain, of course. We use line upon line, it is the same. We have the same symbols, it is the same books, of course. Yeah, it is chronology. They have pulmoni, I have, they don't have. That's what I want to say. So they don't believe in pulmoni. After July 18th, they let go of pulmoni. So that's another thing that I wanted to say. So they have chronology and no pulmoni, which makes me feel like an inheritor of pulmoni. Of course, pulmoni was coming from Jeff. So when I have pulmoni, they don't have pulmoni. I inherit pulmoni by faith, and they don't inherit that because they don't hold it up by faith. They could inherit it, of course, if they still believed it, but they don't want to believe it. So on that point, they ended up not moving forward to the Taliban insurgency and all of the things that have happened over the 4 years. Is it bad or is it good? I don't know if it is bad or good. Of course, Taliban insurgency, civil unrest, and wars, you know what that means. It's a famine. When I just share about it, I'm already on my body, when I just feel like it is a strain, it is crippling. So, do they get that crippling effect? Probably not, because they don't believe in the Taliban insurgency, the civil unrest, and the wars. So what exactly are they gonna be going through in their cleansing of the temple? It's only according to what they believe, which is on the point of chronology and other things. So from the point of this crippling effect and this bodily change and all of this metamorphosis that has happened with me, they're not necessarily gonna go through that. But of course, you have to remember, I have my toilets, I have the cleansing of Hamona, and I have what else? We have the Golgotha, and we have the um and we have a Kuldama. So those are the things that they go through because they have something to say about that. So according to what they have to say about it, even before they have gone through it, because now there might be people who are sympathetic towards them, who feel, oh no, let's go and be runners and go and tell them, don't talk about this, don't talk about this, do this and do that, to save them from whatever it is that might be a wave of destruction. Of course, they see this as death. So that is another thing. They see this as death. They see it as destruction coming upon them from people who don't like them. So that is another thing. So yeah, from that point of view, I don't have any specification on what is going to happen to Adventism, but I know that from that point of view, a lot happened to me, and this was based off of what I believed, and not a lot might happen to them because of what they believe might not be a lot. That can actually just affect them physically. So I don't have any specifications to say this is what's gonna happen to Adventism, but upon that point, at least we are clear on knowing that something is going on, and that is the temple cleansing. And from that point, then it ends with me. Um, I continue to talk about the city of Hamona because I go through a restoration, but in this restoration, it goes on with the building and um, the eating also. So we might not be going through these crippling effects. I mean, all is going to be kind of sifted out now, and we're going to get back to like normal, whatever normal is. Even if it's like 99.9999, that's not 100% to me from when this whole craziness started. But yeah, I'm just grateful, guys. And honestly, my hour has gone by, and the live now can has come to an end. I think I can end it. Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate your support. Um, Tomorrow I'm gonna be going live, and I think it's 3 days, 2 to 3 days. I'm gonna be going live till I end the live. And so until the next live, goodbye, guys.